The church in Acts did not depend on formulas. They depended on the Holy Spirit. Honestly, I think that's one of the biggest differences between the early church and a lot of modern Western Christianity. Acts 13 is really exposing this tension. This chapter opens in Antioch, and culturally, this church is incredibly diverse. They have different races, different cultures, different backgrounds, different social standings. And honestly, that matters because the Mediterranean world was very divided by class, ethnicity, status. But the church was becoming united around Jesus instead of social identity. That's still what the church is supposed to look like. Not everybody looking the same, voting the same, not everyone coming from the same backgrounds, but unity around Christ. Then while they are worshiping, fasting, and praying, the Holy Spirit speaks. And he says, set apart Barnabas and Saul for the work I've called them to. Now notice something. They didn't create a ministry strategy first. They prayed, they fasted, and the Holy Spirit led. The church responded. The church in Acts operated from dependence on the Holy Spirit, not performance systems. They were not trying to manipulate emotional atmospheres. They were not trying to manufacture encounters or relying on polished systems to replace surrender. They expected God to move because they trusted him to move. I think modern churches sometimes trust branding, systems, productions, their name more than they trust the Holy Spirit. That might sound harsh, but it's true. Then Saul and Barnabas are sent out, and almost immediately they encounter spiritual opposition through Elymas the sorcerer. And culturally, this matters because the ancient Mediterranean world was deeply spiritual. Magic, sorcery, occult practices, temple mysticism. People believed spiritual powers were real, so this confrontation is not just theological. It's a clash of kingdoms. And Paul boldly confronts him. He says, you son of Satan. That's strong language. But Paul recognizes something important. Anything trying to keep people from truth is spiritually dangerous. And honestly, spiritual warfare is not always dramatic looking. Sometimes spiritual warfare is simply anything trying to distort truth or keep people from hearing the gospel clearly. Then Paul preaches in the synagogue and walks them through Israel's history. Abraham, Exodus, David, the promises. And he points everything toward Jesus because Christianity was never meant to be disconnected from God's story with Israel. Jesus is the fulfillment. And honestly, one of the strongest moments in this chapter is when Paul says, you rejected it. So now we are taking the gospel to the Gentiles. This was huge culturally because Acts keeps showing the gospel breaking out beyond religious boundaries. Religious systems still struggle when God moves outside of their expectations. Then the Gentiles respond with joy, and opposition arises immediately. Jealousy, insults, persecution. This keeps happening throughout Acts. The more the gospel spreads, the more resistance increases because truth threatens control. And some people reject truth not because it lacks power, but because it threatens the systems that they are comfortable with and benefit from. But what do Paul and Barnabas do? They shake the dust off and they keep on moving. They do not let rejection stop the mission. I think modern believers sometimes stop too quickly because we expect obedience to always feel comfortable. But Acts shows us that following Jesus creates resistance, and still the gospel spreads. So maybe the real question from Acts 13 is this: are we building churches that depend on systems or churches that depend on the Holy Spirit? Because the early church changed the world not through comfort, performance, or manipulation, but through surrender to the Spirit of God. Are you ready to surrender today?